The Electric State is perhaps Netflix's most ambitious film to date. Sporting a budget that's said to be in the $320 million range, which would make it one of the most expensive movies ever made, it's as lavish and high concept as anything you'd find in theaters. Yet it takes intriguing source material, in this case Simon Stellenhag's graphic novel of the same title, and turns it into an episodic, easy-to-watch movie that you can wander in and out of without missing much plot. As such, it's impressively mounted but still a streaming movie to its core, for better or for worse. While it will no doubt earn impressive streaming numbers for Netflix, it lacks the excitement of the best stuff made by its directors Anthony and Joe Russo, who are about to make a welcome return to the MCU. Fans of the graphic novel will be disappointed by the fact that the grim story has been given a family-friendly, upbeat makeover. Much of the movie plays out like an homage to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, albeit with robots instead of tunes, and a healthy dose of Star Wars mixed in. Millie Bobby Brown plays Michelle, a teenager who's living in a world that's been ravaged by a war with machines, albeit not the sinister AI-driven kind we're being threatened with nowadays. Rather, the robots are old, charming mascots such as the Woody Harrelson-voiced Mr. Peanut and Jenny Slate's mail delivery robot Penny Pal, and dozens of other models that are purposely designed to look like a Disney theme park mascot from the 50s and 60s. The war with the robots is very thinly sketched out, with none of them seeming to possess any kind of advanced weapons. The most dangerous one is an old baseball robot voiced by Brian Cox who clubs people with his bat, so I don't quite understand how they were ever a threat to humanity. At any rate, the world was saved by Stanley Tucci, a tech guru who invented a VR network where humans could occupy mindless robot drones to work for them while they enjoy a life in virtual reality, which of course humankind became completely addicted to. Brown plays a plucky heroine who's approached by the robot mascot from her dead younger brother's favorite cartoon, which we realized is being controlled by his consciousness. With the notion that her brother is somewhere in the electric state that's populated by these robots, she travels there with the help of a smuggler played by Chris Pratt, who's so heavily inspired by Han Solo that he even wears a similar vest. Of course, being set in an alternate 90s, the movie is jam-packed with Guardians of the Galaxy-style needle drops, while Pratt essentially seems to be reprising Peter Quill, albeit a less capable version, with him mostly serving as comic relief, which is a disappointment. Given that the Russo brothers made it, you'd expect some bold action, but outside of an ending that really heavily riffs on the Ewoks' Battle for Endor and Return of the Jedi, albeit with robots instead of furry friends, the movie has a lot of build-up and world-building with very little payoff. Millie Bobby Brown is always likable, but neither her nor Pratt are given much to do except play off the robot characters, who are the real stars in the movie. Pratt in particular seems to be relying on his old bag of tricks, with him giving a fast-talk robot sidekick, Anthony Mackie, with his voice raised a couple of octaves, and acting very much like his Parks and Rec character crossed with more than a little Peter Quill. He was a lot better on The Terminalist and in the underrated The Tomorrow War, which is a streaming movie done right, albeit one that was of course designed for theatrical, and you can tell. The robot designs are impressive, as is the CGI, which is impeccable. Technically, one can't find much fault with the movie, with it well photographed by Stephen F. Winden, while Alan Silvestri contributes a score that's reminiscent of some of his 80s and 90s classics. But the writing is thin, with the Russo brothers seemingly a lot more interested in the aesthetics of the world than the premise, with it really just playing out like a hodgepodge of riffs on classic 80s fare like Star Wars, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and a few others. While the supporting cast is peppered with big names, including Stanley Tucci as the movie's big bad and Giancarlo Esposito as a bounty hunter, their talents are wasted in very thin roles. Esposito especially mostly appears as an avatar on a robot body. It really is one of those movies where the actors just feel extraneous, like anyone could have played their roles. While it's technically impressive, The Electric State ultimately feels disposable, even if the streaming numbers are big, which I'm sure they will be. It seems unlikely to spawn the kind of franchise Netflix might be hoping for, similar to another recent Russo brothers film, The Gray Man, which was more entertaining than this. It's a cool to look at disappointment with it, the kind of thing that has a few nifty looking scenes but ultimately feels like a forgettable streaming fare, and I give it a very disappointing 5 out of 10.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.